Hey tech enthusiasts, welcome back to our channel where we're diving into the exciting world of motherboards. Today we got a special treat for you, a roundup of the best motherboards in 2024. These are the heart and soul of your PC, so get ready for a tech journey you won't want to miss. If you're as pumped as we are, hit that like button and let's get started. Number 5 GB Z690 Aorus Pro. Gigabyte has done a good job of spec'ing out the Aorus Pro. It has managed to keep the pricing somewhat reasonable by limiting it to only Wi-Fi 6 wireless as opposed to Wi-Fi 6E and 2.5G Intel cable networking connections and rejecting such superfluous luxuries as Thunderbolt 4 or another M2 port. It's also a fantastic performer, easily matching the system and gaming performance of considerably more costly boards we've tried. The BIOS is also constantly evolving, which gives us total confidence in recommending the Gigabyte board as our Z690 selection. The high contrast design with lots of gray heatsinks is about the only disadvantage of this option. Although much of the gray chipset and M2 cooling will be concealed beneath a GPU, it may not be the easiest board to integrate into your design. There's also only a tiny Aorus logo atop the rear as /O heatsink for RGB lighting. This is unusual for a gaming motherboard in 2022. There are 4 RGB headers, 2 of which are addressable, so you can still add a lot of flashy lights if you wish. The Gigabyte Z690 Aorus Pro is a genuine Alder Lake sweet spot, offering good value for money and a well-rounded feature set. Features like Thunderbolt 4, a 5th M2 slot, or 10G LAN would incur significant additional costs that are difficult to justify. Most gamers will be pleased with the standard Wi-Fi 6, 4XM2 slots, a powerful VRM, and an abundance of USB connectors. And for $330, you'll save a few dollars for more valuable items like DDR5 RAM or a better GPU. The heatsinks work well, although we're disappointed that Gigabyte didn't include the fin heat sinks found on higher-end Aorus boards. In a VRM torture test, the Aorus Pro reached a max temperature of 57 degrees Celsius. That's in the middle of the pack, but 8 degrees Celsius hotter than the Aorus Master's Great Fin heatsink. As long as you have enough airflow, the Aorus Pro's VRM will readily handle an overclocked Core i9 12900K. The rear I/O is excellent, particularly the complement of 13 USB ports. Few current boards offer more, especially at this price point. It has 4 USB 2.0 ports, 4 USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports, 4 USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports, and a Type-C 3.2 Gen 2 X2 port, a single 2.5G Ethernet port, Wi-Fi antenna connectors, and a DP 1.4 interface for compatibility with Intel's Xe integrated graphics are included. The Z690 Aorus Pro features pure Intel networking, including a 2.5G Ethernet port and Wi-Fi 6. We're fine with that at this price because 5G LAN and Wi-Fi 6E are among the features claimed to explain the exorbitant pricing of Z690 boards. For the most part, Z690 boards appear to perform within a margin of error of each other with few outliers. The Aorus Pro performed admirably in multi-threaded gaming and storage testing. Intel's long-term 241 WPL2 limit appears to be causing a convergence of findings. Previously, some manufacturers experimented with Intel's power settings and TAL, but that doesn't appear to be the case now that the limit has been raised. Number 4 MSI Mag B660M Mortar WiFi DDR4. Despite its lack of DDR5 support, the MSI Mag B660 Tomahawk Wi-Fi DDR4 is a worthy choice for those of us looking for a low-cost Alder Lake build. You're still looking at a powerful VRM, so the maximum turbo load of a 12,900K shouldn't be an issue. Plus, you're still getting a lot of I/O ports for your money. Since the release of the last generation B560 motherboards, this development has made a true step further and is absolutely worth considering if you're trying to save money on your 12th Gen set. Because the design is black and lacks RGB, it will simply integrate into most systems. However, there are 4 RGB headers, 2 of which are addressable if you want to maintain sparkling appearances. The Mag B660 Tomahawk does not support overclocking, however, is a far more economical alternative, especially when compared to some Z690 possibilities. Sure, it lacks a little in M2 capacity, but 3 slots will plenty for most of us plebeians who are trying to store mountains of 4K video or every game in their Steam library at the same time. The Tomahawk has 3 PCI slots. The primary slot is an X16 slot that supports PCI 4.0. The secondary slot is an X16 slot, Hex 4 electrical, that supports PCI 3.0, and the final slot is a PCI 3.0 x1 slot. PCI 5.0 support for the primary slot would have been nice, but it's unlikely to provide any significant benefit to GPUs in the near future. MSI's Tomahawk motherboards have a solid reputation for providing powerful VRM solutions, and the B660 entry continues that trend. It has a 12 plus 2-phase VRM that is driven by two 8-pin power connectors. Given that overclocking is not permitted on B660 boards, it can only manage the maximum turbo load of a 12,900K. We promise you that it will not have any issues with it. Massive black heatsinks keep everything cool. We chose an Intel Core i5 12600K processor for our review, which is more likely to be paired with a mid-range chipset. As a result, the VRM load temperature was just 47 degrees Celsius. Even though we use an open test bench, adding 30 degrees or more is still well within range. The board's rear I/O is another standout feature. You receive Realtek 2.5G LAN and Intel Wi-Fi 6, which will cover most users' networking needs. There are 9 USB ports on the device, including 4 USB 2.0 ports, 4 3.2 Gen 2 ports, number 3GB X670 Aorus Elite AX. If you're looking for a good quality X670E motherboard, you've probably been put off by the pricing of several of them. High-end motherboards are more likely to be X670E variants. However, the Gigabyte X670 Aorus Elite AXE has just enough fantastic features at such a low price that I've been tempted away from the E models. The high-quality signaling necessary for both PCI 5.0 extension and M2 slots contributes to the high price of X670 boards. A 16 plus 2 plus 2-phase VRM with 70 power stages is included with the board, more than sufficient for the ordinary user. Put a Ryzen 9 7950X with PBO into the Elite AXE and you won't have any issues. Long before the VRM is taxed, your cooling will reach the 7950X's operating temperature of 95 degrees Celsius. Most users will be satisfied with the cooling, storage, and VRM. Is the I/O then lacking? Hardly. The AMD RZ 616 Wi-Fi 6E and Realtek 2.5G LAN are included in the Aorus Elite AXD. At this pricing, you'd expect to miss out on USB 4, but the rest of the USB count is excellent. A 3.2 Gen 2 X2 Type-C port, 2 Gen 2 ports, 6 Gen 1 ports, and 4 2.0 ports are included. That's 13 USB ports on the back. There's an HDMI 2.1 port for compatibility with the Ryzen 7000's new integrated graphics, as well as a BIOS flashback button. The audio is unremarkable, with an aging Realtek ALC 897 codec handling things. AS/PDIF output would also be good, but aside from that, there isn't much to complain about in far of connectivity. As a result, the cooling, storage, and VRM are more than adequate for the majority of users. Is the I/O then lacking? Hardly. The AMD RZ 616 Wi-Fi 6E and Realtek 2.5G LAN are included in the Aorus Elite AXE. At this pricing, you'd expect to miss out on USB 4, but the rest of the USB count is excellent. The 3.2 Gen 2 X2 Type-C port. Number 2, ASRock Z690 Taichi. The ASRock Z690 Taichi appears to be a high-end product. Its distinct aesthetic will appeal to a wide range of people. Its primary features are dual Thunderbolt 4 connectors, a good audio solution, and powerful early memory support. At $590, it's a costly motherboard, but not unheard of for this platform. The Asus Maximus Hero and Aorus Master cost almost the same. The Taichi's good looks, respectable performance, and extensive feature set make it a credible contender in its price category. To be honest, we would have preferred more M2 slots, though 3 should do for most. Aside from that, there's a lot to enjoy here. Aside from the cost, of course. The board's M2 complement is possibly its major feature flaw. There are only 3 slots, one of which supports just PCI 3.0 X2. It may not be an issue for the average gamer who has a couple of M2 disks and a SATA drive or 2, but the Taichi falls short of some other boards in this price bracket, which support up to 5 M2 drives. It appears that suppliers constructed the boards to handle power-hungry AVX 512 loads, a functionality that was later deleted. Officially, at least. The surface area of the Taichi's VRM heatsinks is less than that of some competitors. However, keep in mind that there is an internal fan close to the I/O area. We'll admit that we didn't notice it until we disassembled the system. Killer E3000, 100G 2.5G, and AX 1675 Wi-Fi 6E controllers handle networking. Intel now owns Revit Networks, the firm behind Killer Nikes, so it's basically all Intel. An Intel i219V gigabit controller connects them. Number 1 GB X570S Aorus Master. The original X570 chipset is showing its age, but there's a minor difference with this motherboard, something indicated by the trailing S. This S stands for silent, and unlike many of the first-generation X570 motherboards, it does not require active cooling to work smoothly and coolly. The Gigabyte X570S Aorus Master is like an elderly dog that has learnt new tricks. The fact that it includes 4 M2 slots as well as a nice heatsink is impressive. We really like how the cooling is all around. Gigabyte deserves credit for continuing to employ finned VRM heatsinks, which increase surface area significantly. They demonstrate that function and form can coexist. A 14-phase VRM with 70 MOSFETs is plenty to power a 5950X Cool by LN2 with headroom to spare, so customers who prefer ambient cooling will be fine. Gigabyte's audio implementations are usually impressive, and the X570S is no exception. Purists will swear by discrete DACs or third-party solutions, but with a competent ALC 1220 VB audio codec and ESS Sabre Hi-Fi 9118 DAC for headphones, as well as Chemicon and WIMA audio capacitors, gamers will be delighted. The Backeye/O is well equipped, particularly in terms of USB connectivity. There are 12 USB 2.0 ports, 2 USB 3.1 Gen 1 ports, 5 USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports, and a single Type-C USB 3.2 Gen 2x2 port. Something needs to be done about the absurd USB naming scheme, but that's a tale for another day. Clear CMOS and BIOS flashback buttons, antenna connectors, conventional audio ports with S/PDIF, and a single Intel 225 2.5G LAN port round out the package. The X570S Master performed well under multi-threaded demands, but not so well under single-threaded loads. Within the margin of error, gaming performance is exactly where we anticipate it to be. It also demonstrated good M2 SSD performance. Because of its numerous USB connections and storage possibilities, the Aorus Master keeps the M4 and X570 relevant. Even at $400, it has enough functionality and looks great to justify the increased premium. That concludes our top 5 best motherboards in 2024 list. All product links are in the description, which is updated with the lowest prices. Subscribe to our channel for more videos. Until then, we'll see you in the next video.